Rev up your engines! I know sedans aren't popular like they used to be, but hey, if you're looking for one, here is a used one a guy just bought. It's an 09 Lexus ES350, and it had one lady owner. The only complaint the owner has is it smells of perfume inside. So he's been putting ozone in. I smell inside, it's going away. Okay, he bought it a month or so ago, 152,000 miles, paid $7,500. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to buy a car with that kind of mileage. Well, this is a one owner that was really taken care of. And as you can see, it was made in Japan. These are the Lexuses that you want to buy. The Japanese really knew how to make these things when they were building them. Under the hood is an ultra-reliable V6 engine. This one, of course, runs fine. We're going to run through the whole thing because I told him I'm going to show him what kind of shape it's in. He just bought it. There's only one downside of this engine, and that's that these are big cars. They ride great. They're relatively heavy. It's that their gas mileage, compared to modern cars, they're gas hogs. These things in town probably get in the high teens. On a highway, you might get 22 miles a gallon or so. That's why the new ones, they're going for hybrids and turbos, and some of those things will get 37, 38 miles a gallon in town. And of course, they're going to all that high technology. But there's a big advantage to this low technology. It's simpler. There's less things to break on it. They're not going to have the problem that a modern one will while it ages. For example, check it out. You got fuel injectors. They're regular fuel injectors. Not high pressure GDI. It's not turbocharged. And they're plenty fast enough, but they can just last and last. Let's face the facts. Toyota, unfortunately, came to the idea a while back that they're only going to make a certain amount of engines. So they want to make only a handful of different engines. So instead of having these V6s that can run forever, they're going mainly to Turbo 4s. Turbo 4s do not last as long. They don't have the same smooth power delivery. Yeah, on paper they have more horsepower. At higher RPMs means your car's going to actually get worse gas mileage. That's the one problem with gas mileage ratings, especially with turbocharged cars. On a dyno it looks great because it's going at one speed, right? When you drive down the road in the turbo, most people, ooh, they step on the gas, the turbo kicks in, the engine revs up, and they go like stink, but the engine's revving up. You get bad gas mileage. Unless your trips are on a dynamometer and you don't go anywhere, those ratings mean nothing. 16 years old, still looks pretty much like a new car because they know how to paint them too. Different than my wife's car, which is a 2001. The paint is still in immaculate shape. They do a phenomenal job in Japan. When they paint cars, look at the rims, they're still in excellent shape. We'll take a look inside at the leather. Still in immaculate shape. You can tell a little old lady drove it. There's no wear and tear. And listen to the door when you close it. Does that sound flimsy? No, it doesn't. It sounds really solid. Now, maybe a somewhat older car, but it's new enough. Doesn't have a rubber timing belt. It's got a metal timing chain. You know how many metal timing chains I've seen go bad on these? None. I've never seen one actually go bad. I've heard them make a little noise when they have 300,000-400,000 miles on startup, but then the noise goes away. I've never actually ever seen one break. And this, of course, leads me to question Honda Motor Company. Because, believe it or not, Honda Motor Company, still, they're V6 engines. And we're talking 2025. They're still using rubber timing belts. I don't understand Honda, right? You got to replace it. If you don't, the pistons hit the valve, the engine goes. Chains are made out of metal. They're strongly made. Normally, chains last a really long time, right? I mean, if you've ever had a Fiat 500 that had a timing chain, no, they're made like junk because they're Italian. But the Japanese make really good chains, too. That reliable engine is hooked up to an extremely dependable 6-speed electronically controlled automatic transmission. Now it is a more modern car, so unfortunately it doesn't have a key. It's got a keyless remote, but that's luxury cars for you. I mean, that's just how they are. And the transmission itself, not everybody's drive them and drive, right? But if you want, look, you can shift them manually if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can shift, but everybody just generally puts them in drive and just drives the things. As we look at the interior, look at the quality. The dash is still in excellent shape. beautiful design. And it does have a CD player, but this is newer than my wife's. My wife's also had a tape deck and a CD player. You need to be an electronic genius to operate this vehicle? Of course not. Look, everything's simple. Seek track. AC, what mode you want it in, fan speed. Look, a clock that you could actually read and set in 2 seconds. These things are well designed, and these leather seats are still in phenomenal shape. As we get in the back seat, check it out. Lots of room, lots of space. You got real heat and air conditioning here, not just some little funky thing. You can put 3 people in there. You can have a phenomenal armrest. Put your drinks in there. And of course, it's a Lexus, so you can even get into the trunk. Hello in there, is anybody in there? But of course, the big thing is, what kind of shape is it in? So out with the big computer. Push the start without stepping on the brakes, so the idiot lights are on. And turn on the old computer. It's warming itself up, a little bit chilly this morning. We'll do diagnostics. It already detected it. Man, that was fast. Standalone diagnosis. We got an ES350 North America 2009. Here we go, we're gonna scan the whole thing. It's all done. I found 3 faults. The tire pressure monitor, this is data from number 2 isn't received because, of course, this car is 16 years old, and guess what? The batteries go bad in them, so we really don't care. Tire pressure gauges are cheap enough. The main body says rear door motor ECU communication stop. Let's see something. Well, the rear door windows are opening, so who cares? And the other one is the air conditioner. It says pressure sensor circuit open. Refrigerant pressure abnormal. Basically, it's telling us it's low on refrigerant. They were told by the owner that it uses a little bit of refrigerant. It hasn't been recharged in a while. You would recharge it. That would go off when you reset the computer with my machine. Then you'd see how long it lasted. So many cars will lose refrigerant over time. And you just add some and see how long they last. And then if it does last, say, less than a month, you can put some UV leak dye, find exactly where the leak is, and fix it. But, I mean, all older cars, last summer I had to put some refrigerant in my wife's Lexus. I hadn't in years. So, hey, add some refrigerant and see. Maybe later you'll have to put a repair in, but if it lasts for years, who cares? Just add it as the tiny bits leak out. So, let's do some live data analysis here. We're going to live data. And we'll start her up. Of course, it starts right up. Remember, black is good, red is bad. Everything's complete. Here's some good data. Let's start looking at it, okay? Short-term fuel trim, well, we got to get it in gear to get good data. Now, the long-term fuel trim is 3.9%, meaning it's adding 3.9% fuel. So, it's running a little bit lean. It's idling fine and gas mileage is fine, but as everything ages, things get dirty. I would advise sticking some of Bernie's fuel injector cleaner, running it and see what happens. You can't really complain, considering that the car has 152,385 miles. For example, my wife's car runs like 2.2% lean on a long-term fuel trim because of its age, and I haven't cleaned it in a while. But that's not going to hurt anything. A lot of guys look at figures and they get freaking out. Oh, no, it's running lean. It's adding a little fuel. That is no big deal with a car with this kind of mileage that runs as good as this thing's running. Flow is normal. And you can see their flow. Look, 1.00 is perfect. 0.9978, there's one that was perfect. It's pretty close to perfect. Thanks for the air fuel ratio sensor. Close to perfect. 0 is perfect. That's perfect. Perfect. Just off. 1 to 100. This thing's running great. The Cadillac temperatures are all perfect. Matching. It's got 2 cats on this baby. Mission data is all good. 6-speed automatic transmission, electronically controlled. Keep looking. I don't see any bad data. No red. Just kind of whip through them all. There are so many of them. Make your head spin. Misfires, 0 across the board. So let's take it for a spin. Stop for a little road test. It's an old car, so there's no backup camera. What the heck? I have a rear view mirror and eyes. First thing I notice, smooth as can be, idle. And yeah, it's got the light on for the stupid tire pressure monitor because the batteries have worn out. Do you really want to take all the tires apart and change all the batteries? It's an awful lot of money for some stupid thing that a little tire pressure gauge can check it every once in a while. He's only had it about a month. He has no complaints, and when I show him the results, he probably won't have any complaints then either. These are very smooth driving cars. I don't care what anybody says. You replace the smooth V6 with a tiny 4-cylinder turbo, they do not drive and ride the same. They just don't. And they won't last as long either. Shift smooth, you can't even feel it shifting. I don't hear any wheel bearing noise or anything. It would take a trip to Tobacco Road. Surprised here, because they quick cut all the trees down, but they haven't built any houses yet. So it might be a sign that the economy is slowing down a little. I don't know. We'll come to a stop. And here we go. Woohoo! It did a little squeal before the traction control kicked in. Man, you wouldn't think this car's 150-something thousand miles on it. It runs smooth. It's got plenty of power. Look, shifts like a dream. And when you want to pass somebody, you just step on the gas. And there goes the speedometer. Hey, this has plenty enough horsepower for any driver. This is a nice cruising car. There's no arguing that. I would certainly say that at $7,500 he paid for this thing was well spent. Hey, the compass still works and I like it because unlike my wife's Lexus, this is green, hers is white. This looks a lot cooler. Certainly it's a one-hand driving car. Heck, you could drive this thing with one finger if you wanted to. Now you can see this is actually doing quite well. It's averaging 24.6 miles per gallon, which is pretty good for a car that's this fast. It's an older car. Doesn't have GDI, but it's got an engine that can last forever. So there you have it. Did he get his money's worth for $7,500? You bet he got more than his money's worth. How did he find it? Well, he got lucky. It had just been on Facebook for like 3-4 minutes, and he got on, and the guy decided he'd sell it to him because he said, look, I got all these dealers, they're all calling me up. They're going to buy this thing, and then they're going to mark it up 4 or 5 grand, sell it to somebody else. He said, it was a one-owner car, and I'd rather sell it to you. We bought it, and voila. What a deal. If you ever see something like this sitting around, a one-owner Lexus in this kind of shape, snap it up even if you're not sure you want it, because if you don't, guess what? You can sell it in 2 seconds to somebody else, probably for more than what you paid for it. But if you're looking for a nice car to drive around, you can't beat something like this because, as the saying goes, they don't make them like they used to. Well, they really don't. And this one isn't even near being worn out yet. So why not get a sedan? If this had been an RX 350, it would have probably been 15-20 grand or even more. So maybe think sedan next time. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.